It was a Tuesday.
Hold on. Too true, but probably over-exaggerated. Kindergarten horse. Okay.
A day like any other in my kindergarten classroom, filled with the sounds of laughter and the vibe.
I love his voice. I don't know who that voice actor is, but he's on a lot of horror shorts on YouTube channels and videos.
Chaos of young children at play. That morning, as I prepared for another day of teaching and nurturing these young minds, I could never have imagined the horror that was about to unfold. Mr. Thompson, a parent I knew all too well for his confrontations with school staff over his son's recent expulsion, stormed into my classroom shortly after the morning bell.
Go back.
Recent expulsion.
Go back. We.
In nurturing these young minds, I could never have imagined the horror that was about to unfold. Mr. Thompson, a parent I knew all too well for his confrontations with school staff over his son's recent expulsion.
That whole, what you just said right there, y'all should have security on deck. Like, what kind of school is this? This father should know, like, his name and picture should be, like, in multiple places of the school. So just in case y'all see him, get your guard up.
Stormed into my classroom shortly after the morning bell. The look in his eyes was wild, frantic, betraying a mind pushed to its limits. In his hands, he wielded what appeared...
How the hell did you walk into school like that? That's cat. Unless security at the school is non-existent, how the hell did you come in with a bat? What's it called? What is that bat called that's on Walking Dead? It's Lucille? Oh, I think that's right. How did you walk into school like that with that thing? Clocked out of here and either security was non-existent, security's ass, or the staff there was in cahoots, or unless he clocked up everybody there.
Be a mishmash of handmade weapons, objects twisted into forms meant to intimidate and harm. Where is he? Where's the principal? Mr. Thompson demanded, his voice a frightening growl that echoed off the classroom walls. I stood frozen, my heart racing, as the children huddled behind me, sensing the...
I would have been one of the students be like, clock this.
Danger.
Mr. Thompson, please, let's talk about this.
I pleaded, attempting to keep my voice steady.
The children...
They need to see it. They all need to see what happens when you push someone too far. He interrupted, slamming a spiked bat against a desk, splintering the wood. His actions were a clear display of his intent to terrorize, to punish us for perceived wrongs I couldn't begin to understand. As chaos erupted in the classroom, with children screaming and crying, Mr. Thompson began his tirade of destruction. He smashed windows, overturned tables, and threw books across the room, all while ranting about the injustice of his son's expulsion and how we were all to blame for ruining his family. I knew I had to act.
Kids, to the closet.
I whispered, guiding them to a small storage space at the back of the room. It was a tight fit, but it could hide them from view. As I ushered the last child in, Mr. Thompson noticed. Trying to hide, like the cowards you are.
Hell yeah! You look crazy as shit! And you got a bat with metal, with the shits on it. With the barbed wire wrapped around it. Hell yeah, I'm scared. What you talking about?
Marked, moving towards us with purpose. In that moment, I realized that I couldn't just protect the children. I needed to confront this threat head on.
Mr. Thompson, please, think about your son. This isn't what he needs.
I said, stepping forward, putting myself between him and the closet. The mention of his son seemed to hit a nerve. He paused, his expression tormented, torn between rage and a flicker of reason. But the moment passed quickly, and his anger surged anew. You don't get to talk about what he needs. You've done enough. Where was your misplaced sense of justice when your principal made an example out of my boy in front of everybody? I paid thousands of dollars to you people in this fancy...
You need to pay thousands of dollars to get your teeth fixed. And your eyeballs. And that big-ass, strong-ass jawline.
Like a kindergarten of a sham that you're running. Okay, you don't get to tell me shit or do anything to my son. Do you even know who I am? What I do? You messed with the wrong person, and I will make sure you get the terror which you inflicted on my son. He screamed, raising the bat once more. It was a standoff, with Mr. Thompson's unpredictable rage against my desperate resolve to protect my students at all costs. The air was thick with tension, each of us waiting for the other to make a move. The standoff with Mr. Thompson seemed to stretch into eternity, his breaths heavy with rage, mine quickened by fear. The children, silent in their hiding spots, seemed to understand the gravity of the moment. Their usual energetic chatter reduced to stifled whimpers. Then, in a move I still replay in my nightmares, Mr. Thompson lunged forward, the spiked bat raised high, his intent to harm clear in his crazed eyes. Instinctively, I dove to the side, narrowly avoiding the swing that crashed into the wall behind where I had stood moments before. Pieces of plaster and wood chips rained down, a physical reminder of how close I had come to being struck. You can't protect them forever! Mr. Thompson bellowed, pulling the bat from the wall with a terrifying determination. It was then, amidst the adrenaline-fueled terror, that an idea sparked within me.
Mr. Thompson, look!
I exclaimed, pointing towards the classroom door, my voice laced with feigned astonishment. For a split second, his attention diverted, his head snapping towards the door, expecting what? Reinforcements? His son? In that moment of distraction, I made my move. Rushing towards him, I aimed for the hand that gripped the bat, using every ounce of strength to wrench it away. Surprised and unbalanced, he stumbled, the weapon clattering to the floor. Seizing the opportunity, I kicked the bat across the room, far out of reach. You don't understand what you're doing, I gasped, back.
You don't understand what you're doing. What the hell? Mr. Thompson, make it make sense. You came into the school rage as hell, mad as hell, on some clock shit, willing to clock up anybody and everybody. And you talking about you don't know what you're doing.
Away, hoping to put distance between us. But Mr. Thompson, fueled by a mix of humiliation and unchecked fury, was not deterred. He charged, intent on using his sheer physicality to overpower me. The ensuing struggle was a blur of motion and desperation. I dodged and weaved.
I don't understand where everybody else is at the school. Maybe they just ran off. Like what?
Narrowly escaping his grasps, all while screaming for help at the top of my lungs, hoping someone outside would hear. But he grabbed my hair and pulled me down, pinning me to the floor and sitting on top of me. He landed two powerful blows, one to my...
Bro, and the kids are just watching this shit. That's traumatizing as hell.
Left ear and one to the chin. I was stunned for a few moments, dazed and confused about what was happening as pain shot through my face. But I couldn't back down. There were no rules to this fight. So just as he leapt up a bit, leaving himself a little room, I took all my strength into a punch, which...
That's what I be talking about! Y'all need to do that more often now. Males and females. Go ahead and just Maybe a little kick to the nuts and the dick.
Landed at his crotch with might. He went down in an instant, squirming in pain. And then, just as suddenly as it had all began, help arrived. The door burst open and several police officers rushed in.
Y'all just now getting there? Cluck y'all. Whole time, from the moment he got there into the moment he went down holding his shits, man, I want to say it was probably like less than an hour between him getting to the school and then now in a like a little fetal position. Probably like less than an hour, I want to say. That's crazy.
The commands loud and authoritative. Mr. Thompson, realizing his situation, hesitated just long enough for them to tackle him, securing him in handcuffs. As he was led away, his eyes met mine, the madness that had consumed him giving way to a dawning realization of his actions. The classroom, once a place of learning and laughter, was now a scene of devastation, a stark reminder of the terror we had all survived. The children emerged from their hiding spots, their eyes wide and tear-streaked, but safe. Safe because of a gamble I had taken, a bluff that had paid off. As I hugged each of them, comforting their shaken spirits, I couldn't help but feel a mix of relief and sorrow. Relief that we had survived, and sorrow for the man who had lost himself to his own despair and anger. In the aftermath, as the community rallied around us, offering support and solace, I found a new resolve. The ordeal had shown me the depths of my own courage, the strength I possessed, not just as a teacher, but as a protector of my students. Mr. Thompson's attack had been meant to tear us apart, to instill fear and chaos. Instead, it had brought us closer, highlighting the resilience of the human spirit, even in the face of unimaginable adversity. Our classroom would rebuild, not just the physical space, but the sense of safety and trust that had been threatened. We would move forward, forever changed, but stronger for having endured together. And as for me, Alexa, the teacher who had faced down terror to protect her students, I learned that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's the quiet voice at the end of the day whispering, "We will survive this." And we did.
Barely. Y'all,
Before starting the story,
y'all barely got it out. Got out. And I just want to let y'all know, if I was a teacher, after everything was said and done, we all having a group hug and stuff. It's nice. You know, we at ease. You know, and they said, "Thank you for protecting us, Mr. Martin. Thank you for protecting us, Mr. Martin. We love you so much, and I love y'all too. I love y'all too, little, yeah." But I come in close. I just want to let y'all know, real talk. I love y'all. But if this shit happens again, I'm hauling ass.
I would suggest you guys to go subscribe to the channel. It turns out that most of you guys who watch me aren't actually...
That's the same number that you showed like 6 months ago.
Subscribe. So, if you like the content and want to support the channel, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell. It's free, and you can always change your mind later.
The first time I noticed something was off was when a beautifully illustrated, albeit slightly worn copy of Hansel and Gretel appeared in my classroom at Little Sprouts Kindergarten. There was no note, no indication of who it might have come from.
Probably a donation.
I thought, shrugging it off. I'm Sally. By the way, born in...
The hell you looking at the camera like that for? Time out. Hell no, you look sus.
Red in New York, teaching these kids with all the patience and love I've got. The donations didn't stop at the book.
That black kid look traumatized like a mother clucker. It's like this little black kid right here look like he just seen something crazy.
Odd trinket.
Hey yo, isn't this like the little thing right here that Apple headquarters have in California? That's what's up.
Followed crumbs of what looked like real brick.
That's nasty. That's nasty. I can't be no teacher. I can't, like, that's nasty. Like, y'all nasty as hell. Y'all badass students. Y'all badass kids. Y'all dirty. Y'all nasty. Like, hell no. If I was to ever be a teacher in the school, best believe all of them is cleaning up after themselves. I'm not touching nothing.
Tiny figures that resemble children, and most
Go back. That was so damn creepy. Hell no. Fuck.
that resemble children, and, most disturbingly, a small vial of what I prayed was red food coloring. It was when a note finally did appear, things took a sinister turn.
Oh, yeah?
For the little ones to find their way. It read, in a handwriting that was jagged and hurried. I brought it up with the principal, Mrs. Levinson, but she waved it off as someone's idea of a joke. But I knew better. New York's taught me to sense when something's amiss, and boy was I right. It escalated quickly from there. One morning we found our classroom door replaced with one that looked like it was straight out of a fairy tale, aged wood with iron detailing. Welcome to the adventure, another note read. This time the staff was alarmed, but before we could delve deeper, the day's horrors unfolded. A storyteller, as he called himself, made his grand entrance, masked and robed, turning our school.
My guy just casually walked. It doesn't make sense how these bad guys, these cluckies, can just walk into these schools like this. He just casually walked into school like, what's up? How you doing?
Into a stage for his twisted narratives. Worse yet, he carried what looked like an automatic gun. He began with Hansel and Gretel, forcing us to breadcrumb trails around the school, leading to candy traps, sticky floors that glued the kids' shoes to the ground. His laughter echoed through the halls.
Just take off your shoes and haul ass.
A sound I won't easily forget. Next, he twisted the Pied Piper, playing eerie music all over the school's PA system. The children, entranced or perhaps just confused, followed the sound to the gym, where they were met with a maze of pipes and ropes. Lead them, Sally, he demanded through the intercom, his voice a mix of glee and madness. Or the rats will. I did as told, heart pounding, as I navigated the children through the maze, all while trying to shield them from the reality of the terror we were facing. His temper flared at any deviation from his script, objects being thrown from shadows, narrowly missing us as he bellowed corrections. The next of his performance was the most horrifying. Sleeping Beauty, he declared. A student, little Emily, lay asleep in the center of the classroom, surrounded by thorns, real rose bushes he'd somehow brought inside, complete with sharp thorns. Wake her, but beware the thorns, dear Sally. His voice taunted from somewhere I couldn't see. I wanted the kids to not panic, so convinced them that the masked man was just...
You want the kids to not panic? They firsthand seen somebody walk into the school with a black mask on and a gun. And you don't want them to man, what?
A game and we have to play along. It took every ounce of my being not to break down in front of the children. Using a path I cleared of thorns, I reached Emily, waking her with a gentle shake. It was a game to him, but a nightmare to us. One that felt too real, too dangerous. That is when Mrs. Levinson broke and rushed to her office to ring an alarm, but the masked man's bullets were faster.
Shit.
Mrs.
Damn!
Levinson's body fell with a light thud and skidded off on the floor
What school
as
is-
the gunshots terrified us all.
What school was this? What school was this? Hell no.
Kids started screaming, teachers started shivering and crying, and then he yelled at the intercom again to quiet us all. If anyone tries to make a call, a bomb would go off.
Oh my God.
If anyone tries to run out of...
Bro. What school is this? I need to know specifics. Because ain't no way. I don't know if this. It's hard to tell whether or not a story is real or not. Because you don't know. Because I don't, man. This story seems crazy. How do you, like. How does that, like. Bro, he's doing so much in this story. And I don't know how what the hell? I don't know this. Sometimes IMR Scary Tales puts like real images or like real facts at the end of the story. So I don't know if like, you know.
the school, a bomb would go off. If anyone tries anything to disrupt my game, even if it's a kid or a teacher, they will die.
Is it just you in here? Or do you have like helpers? Because how are you focusing, like how are you can't see everybody, right? So I would have just left. Like
I have my eyes everywhere.
that's Cap.
I had a feeling that the final act was yet to come, a revelation that would shake me to my core. I had to signal for help somehow. That is when I got an idea. As we were told to take the kids out to a different classroom, I got my hands on turpentine oil, which was used in art classes. As we were leaving, I quickly ran and soaked a curtain in it before picking a magnifying glass and focusing the sunbeam on it. It didn't take much time for it to light up, and I rushed out of the room, pretending not to know anything. Every minute passed with the staff and students of Little Sprouts Kindergarten on edge, waiting for another shoe to drop. And drop it did, in the most unexpected and horrifying way. Suddenly, there was an artificial fog everywhere inside a different classroom that he invited us in, and a life-sized figures of wolves lurking between the trees. Little Red Riding Hood. A note pinned to the front door announced, the jagged handwriting now hauntingly familiar. This time, the storyteller emerged from the shadows, dressed as the grandmother, his mask grotesquely resembling an older woman. Oh, Sally, what big responsibilities you have, he crooned, stepping into the light, the staff frozen in fear behind me. The task he set before us was macabre, a scavenger hunt for items to save Grandma from the wolf, hidden somewhere in the fog. With each item found, he would release a child from the cage he built out of tables in the middle of this nightmare. His temper was explosive. Any misstep from us or the children resulted in a tirade of shouts and bullet shoots. As the day wore on, his demands grew more bizarre and dangerous. He wanted us to reenact scenes from the story, with him narrating every move. It was during one of these performances, as I had to pretend to be Little Red Riding Hood, that I noticed something, a pattern in his madness. Each tale he chose was about children overcoming fears, outsmarting their foes. It was a slim chance, but it was all I had. I began weaving hints into our performances, signaling the children to be brave, to remember what we'd learned in class about real and make-believe. All the while, the storyteller watched, oblivious to the silent rebellion growing under his nose. The climax of his sick game came with the final note, left on the face of a little child. The grand finale awaits, dear Sally. Come to the library, and let's end this story together. I knew it was a trap, but I also knew it was an opportunity to end this once and for all. I entered the library, the air thick with anticipation. He was there, waiting, the grandmother mask now lying on a table beside him, his real face shrouded in shadow. You've played your part well, Sally, but like all good tales, this one must come to an end. But I wasn't alone. The fire which I had set alerted the passerbys, and firefighters were called along with police. They immediately realized that something wasn't right and called backup. The storyteller was so engrossed in his tales that he never even heard the faint sirens. And soon, the police burst in.
Shit!
The storyteller, caught by surprise.
His face is so nonchalant. Hold on. Freeze, motherfucker. Hands up, motherfucker. We got you now. Wait, we got you now.
Was quickly apprehended. As they led him away,
Ew.
his identity revealed. I
Ew.
couldn't believe my eyes. Mr. Thompson, the quiet librarian who'd been with us for years, his mind lost to grief after losing his own child, had become the storyteller. He'd sought to recreate his twisted version of children's stories, where the stakes were life and death, believing he was teaching them resilience through fear. The aftermath was a blur of police statements, counseling sessions for the children and staff, and a community trying to heal. Little Sprout's kindergarten would never be the same, but we had survived, stronger and more united than ever.
Y'all keep saying we survived. We made it out. Yeah, barely. Y'all barely survived. Y'all barely made it out. Like, don't say it like y'all just got saved and y'all made it out alive without, unharmed, unscathed. We got this in a bag type shit. Nah, don't say that. Because both stories, y'all barely came out alive. That was crazy. I don't really know the years that these stories took place, but for somebody to walk something into school just nonchalant, that makes me think that either the people working at the school was in cahoots, or they clucked up the people, or some of the people that was in the school. Because how do you just walk up into school with holding a weapon that's deadly as motherfucker? How do you just walk up nonchalant like, hey, how you doing? Ba 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 ba. Oh no, hell no. That's crazy. Keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy. My family.